Tom Reynolds shuffled through the bustling crowd outside the concert hall, a worn and gentle smile on his face. At 71 years old, he bore the marks of a life well lived, reflected in the wrinkles etched around his eyes. Wearing an olive-green wrinkled coat that had seen many chilly nights and a military service cap proudly displaying his past as a Korean War veteran, Tom blended into the sea of excited fans. To him, the concert was more than just music. It was a chance to relive memories of camaraderie and sacrifice. As he approached the entrance, he noticed the lively chatter and laughter surrounding him. Young people in bright clothes dashed by, their energy contagious. Tom took a moment to appreciate the gathering, feeling both out of place and right at home among those who cherished freedom and joy. However, when he reached the ticket booth, anxiety clawed at his heart. He fumbled through his pockets, hoping to find something, a reminder of an era gone by, but discovered nothing except loose change. The ticket attendant's stern look told him all he needed to know. Without a ticket, there would be no entry. Tom felt a rush of disappointment wash over him as he stepped aside. He watched others flow into the venue while his thoughts drifted back to simpler times when soldiers supported one another without question. A deep sigh escaped his lips. Perhaps tonight wouldn't be as fulfilling as he had hoped. Meanwhile, in the warmth backstage, one attentive staff member noticed Tom's struggle from afar. Moved by the sight of this seasoned hero being turned away, the staff member decided to act. The concert would soon take an unexpected turn because this dedicated veteran's story was only beginning. The concert venue buzzed with energy as crowds of fans gathered outside, their excitement palpable in the cool evening air. Bright lights bounced off the walls, casting a warm glow that hinted at the magic about to unfold. Young couples laughed and chatted while friends snapped photos together, all eager to witness the legendary Elvis perform live. The scent of popcorn and cotton candy wafted through the air, mingling with cheerful voices. As the doors swung open, attendees poured inside, filling the space with a symphony of anticipation. The cheers grew louder, echoing against the walls as fans rushed to find their seats. Everywhere one looked, there were colorful outfits and smiling faces, all uniting for a single purpose: to experience the music and charisma of Elvis Presley. Inside, the stage was set spectacularly. A massive backdrop shimmered with vibrant colors while spotlights flickered in time to the booming rhythm of the sound system. Musicians tuned their instruments, adding to the growing excitement in the crowd. Fans whispered among themselves about their favorite songs, sharing stories of how Elvis's music had filled their lives with joy. As the clock ticked closer to showtime, a hush fell over the audience, replaced by eager murmurs of anticipation. People glanced at each other, starry-eyed with hope that tonight would be unforgettable. Nearby, backstage staff busied themselves preparing for the performance while keeping an eye on the enthusiastic crowd. Among the overwhelming sea of fans stood a quiet figure, Tom Reynolds, who remained unaware of how his story would soon intertwine with this spectacle. Little did he know that just moments later, something remarkable would happen that would not only change his evening but also resonate deeply within all those present at this lively concert. As Tom Reynolds approached the concert venue, his heart raced with anticipation. The bright lights shining from the entrance created a dazzling halo around the eager faces of the crowd. He could hear the distant strumming of guitars and the soft hum of voices buzzing with excitement. Elvis was coming, and this was a moment he had longed for, a chance to see his idol perform live. Memories of his youth flooded his mind, reminding him of how Elvis's music had been a comforting companion during his time in the service. Dressed in his old wrinkled coat and military cap, Tom felt both proud and humble as he walked towards the ticket booth. He took a deep breath, soaking in the electric atmosphere filled with laughter and chatter. Friends gathered, snapping photos, while young couples exchanged sweet whispers, all ready to experience a night filled with magic. Tom couldn't help but smile at their joy. It reminded him of the camaraderie he'd shared with fellow soldiers. But just as he reached the ticket counter, he felt an unsettling twist in his stomach. After digging through his pockets, all hope slipped away when he realized he had neglected to bring his ticket. The attendant's cold stare felt like a slap in the face as he bluntly informed Tom that without a ticket, entry was impossible. A rush of disappointment washed over him, souring what had been pure excitement just moments before. Tom stepped aside, watching others streaming into the hall, their faces alight with joy. He felt like an outsider peering through a window at a party he couldn't join. Deflated, he looked down at his worn shoes, wishing things had turned out differently. Little did he know that someone backstage was about to notice his plight, and that his evening was not over just yet. Backstage, the atmosphere buzzed with a different kind of excitement, filled with technicians adjusting instruments and crew members preparing for the show. Among them was Sarah, a dedicated staff member who had worked many concerts but found this one particularly special. As she moved about, her eyes caught sight of Tom standing alone outside the entrance. His wrinkled coat and military cap stood out against the vibrant crowd, and she noticed the disappointment etched on his face. Feeling an unexpected pang of empathy, Sarah paused her busy tasks and observed Tom's struggle. She watched as he shuffled in place, his hopeful expression fading into one of dismay. It tugged at her heartstrings to see a veteran, who had likely faced far greater hardships, now feeling so defeated over something as simple as a concert ticket. The laughter and joy of those around him seemed to amplify his solitude, making him appear even more isolated. Determined to help, Sarah approached one of the stage managers, her mind racing with ideas. "You won't believe what I just saw," she exclaimed, urgency in her voice. "There's a veteran out there, Tom Reynolds, who was turned away because he didn't have a ticket. He deserves to be inside, enjoying this night like everyone else." The stage manager listened intently as Sarah recounted the situation, her passion shining through as she spoke of Tom's service and the sacrifices he had made. "We need to tell Elvis," she insisted. "He'll want to make this right." With a nod of understanding, the stage manager quickly agreed. Sarah felt a sense of hope swell within her as they rushed to relay Tom's story to Elvis, believing that the king of rock and roll would surely respond with compassion for a fellow American hero. As Sarah relayed Tom's story to the stage manager, Elvis was informed just moments later. He had just finished a sound check and was in high spirits, ready to connect with his fans. However, upon hearing about the veteran who had been turned away, his cheerful demeanor shifted to concern. Elvis always had a deep respect for those who served the country, recalling how many times music had united soldiers and civilians alike. "Wait, what happened?" Elvis asked urgently, his brow furrowing. The stage manager quickly explained Tom's situation, highlighting his years of service and the disappointment he felt standing outside while others enjoyed the concert. As he listened, the weight of the moment settled on Elvis's shoulders. He was not just a performer but an advocate for those whose voices often went unheard. "I can't believe this," he said emphatically. "We have to get him inside. No veteran should ever feel left out like that." His eyes sparkled with determination as he continued. "This man fought for us. We can at least let him enjoy some music." Elvis raised his hand to gather everyone's attention backstage, capturing not just the crew but also the spirited atmosphere building among fans waiting in anticipation. "Listen up, y'all! We have a special guest outside who deserves a front row seat, Tom Reynolds." His voice rang out with command and warmth alike. Cheers erupted from the crew members as they realized who Tom was and what this gesture would mean. Without wasting another moment, Elvis instructed them to find Tom and bring him in with great honor. The worry erased from his face, replaced by an infectious smile that reflected his genuine care for those who had served. The excitement grew throughout the venue as they prepared to make an unforgettable moment happen for both Tom and everyone in attendance. As the lights dimmed and the roar of the crowd filled the air, Elvis took center stage, his charisma igniting an electric atmosphere. He began to strum his guitar, launching into one of his classic hits, and the audience erupted in cheers. However, just as the energy reached its peak, he paused mid-song, sensing something was off. The lively chatter faded into silence as fans noticed the change in Elvis's demeanor. With a serious yet warm expression, he leaned closer to the mic, his eyes scanning the crowd. "Hold on a second, everyone!" he called out, causing a ripple of curiosity and suspense to wash over the audience. I just heard something that needs our attention." His voice resonated through the venue, capturing everyone's focus. "There's a special guest outside who deserves to be inside with us tonight," he announced, his gaze sincere. Tom Reynolds, a veteran who fought for our freedom, was turned away because he didn't have a ticket. The crowd gasped collectively, their hearts warming at the mention of Tom's situation. Elvis continued, "No one should feel left out when we're all here to celebrate together." The crowd erupted into applause and cheers, showing their support for the veteran they had never met. "We're going to find him. I want you all to help me make this right." With a determined nod, Elvis gestured for the crew to start looking for Tom. The audience buzzed with excitement, their anticipation building as they awaited this heartfelt reunion. Fans shouted encouragement, eager to see Tom brought into the spotlight. As they prepared to bring him in, Elvis smiled brightly, knowing that this moment would not only honor Tom but also unite everyone in the spirit of gratitude and joy for a true American hero. As Elvis's words hung in the air, the crowd erupted into a chorus of cheers and applause, their excitement palpable. Fans stood on tiptoes, eager to see how this moment would unfold. The sense of community grew among the audience, as they realized that they were not only supporting their idol but also standing up for a veteran who had sacrificed so much for their freedom. "Let's bring him in!" shouted one enthusiastic fan from the front row, and the chant quickly spread throughout the venue. "Tom! Tom! Tom!" echoed back as others joined in, clapping along to the rhythm of their cheers. The atmosphere transformed into one of unity and purpose. It was as if everyone present shared a single heartbeat, bonded by admiration for Elvis and respect for Tom's service. With each passing second, anticipation built like a wave ready to crash. Fans exchanged glances filled with excitement and pride at being part of something greater than themselves. They understood that this wasn't just about a concert anymore. It was about honoring all veterans and ensuring that no one felt forgotten. Elvis stood on stage with a broad smile, his charisma shining even brighter as he soaked in the electric energy radiating from the audience. He encouraged the crowd to keep cheering, waving his arms to inspire even more enthusiasm. "That's right! Let's make sure he knows how much we appreciate him." As Elvis rallied his crew to locate Tom, fans began to clap rhythmically, creating a thunderous backdrop of support. The cheers reverberated through the venue, lifting spirits and igniting hope in every heart present. In that moment, everyone was united, not just as fans of music but as supporters of bravery and sacrifice, ready to welcome a hero into their midst with open arms and joyful hearts. Backstage, the energy was electric as crew members sprang into action, responding to Elvis's call to find Tom. Sarah, the staff member who had first noticed Tom's plight, led the charge. "We need to locate him quickly," she urged, her voice filled with determination as she dashed toward the exit. In the dim light of backstage corridors, workers communicated over headsets, relaying information and coordinating their efforts. "He was last seen outside the main entrance," one crew member reported, glancing at his watch anxiously. Time was of the essence. The audience was buzzing with anticipation for Tom's arrival, and every passing second heightened the suspense. As Sarah and a couple of stagehands made their way through the crowded venue, they encountered clusters of fans who were still cheering Tom's name. The chants echoed in their ears, reminding them of the urgency of their mission. "Have you seen a man in a wrinkled coat and military cap?" Sarah asked a group of enthusiastic fans. They nodded enthusiastically and pointed toward the entrance. "It's just over there," another fan said, raised brows conveying concern for Tom. With renewed focus, Sarah and her team hurried out into the night air where they spotted Tom standing alone yet again, his expression a mix of confusion and hope. "Tom! This way!" Sarah called out, waving her arms to catch his attention. As he turned around, a wave of applause erupted from the audience inside as they caught sight of him being escorted back into the venue. The crowd's cheers crescendoed outside, creating a palpable tension as everyone held their breath in anticipation for Tom's triumphant return. With every step that Tom took towards the entrance, excitement swelled among the fans waiting inside. They could sense that something special was about to happen, everyone eager to welcome this hero warmly into their midst and honor his service in front of all those gathered. As Tom Reynolds stepped through the entrance, he was greeted by a thunderous applause that seemed to shake the very foundations of the concert hall. His heart raced as he processed the overwhelming warmth and appreciation radiating from the audience. Staff members flanked him on either side, guiding him toward the front row while cheers erupted around them. Tom was momentarily speechless, his eyes wide with astonishment. The vibrant crowd shouted praises and waved their hands, recognizing him as a veteran who had served his country. His wrinkled coat felt lighter somehow, lifted by the collective spirit of those around him who showed their gratitude in this unexpected way. As they reached the front row, Tom could hardly believe this extraordinary turn of events. He looked out at the sea of faces, many of whom were smiling at him with respect and admiration. Memories of his service flooded back, reminding him of times when camaraderie and brotherhood were paramount. This moment felt like a reunion with a family he never knew he had, a community that honored his sacrifices with open hearts. With every step closer to center stage, Tom's initial confusion turned into a swell of pride. He adjusted his military cap and straightened his coat, feeling more like the man he once was, a soldier recognized for his duty rather than just an old man standing outside alone. When he finally settled into a seat at the front, the crowd erupted once more in cheers. Elvis, sensing the emotion in the room, flashed a beaming smile down at Tom and gave him an enthusiastic wave. "This is what it's all about!" Elvis exclaimed, further igniting the jubilant atmosphere. In that heartfelt moment, Tom understood that he was not just part of an audience. He had been welcomed into a celebration that honored those who had given so much for freedom. As Tom settled into his front row seat, the atmosphere crackled with excitement. Elvis, ever the showman, took a moment to soak in the jubilant energy of the crowd before turning his attention to Tom. With a bright smile illuminating his face, he stepped closer to the edge of the stage, microphone in hand. "Ladies and gentlemen," Elvis began, his voice resonating through the hall, "I want you all to meet a very special man tonight." The entire venue fell silent, anticipation hanging thick in the air. "This is Tom Reynolds, a Korean War veteran who has given so much for our country." A wave of applause erupted once more, louder than before, resonating through Tom's heart like music. He felt the eyes of everyone in the room on him, some filled with admiration, others with tears of gratitude, and he could hardly believe that this moment was happening. Elvis continued, "Tom represents all of our veterans, those who have fought bravely for our freedom and deserve every ounce of respect and thanks we can give." Elvis took a step back and gestured toward the crowd. "Let's hear it for him and all our veterans. Without them, none of us would be here enjoying this night." The audience responded with raucous cheers and standing ovations, clapping wildly as they honored not just Tom but every service member present and past. Overwhelmed with emotion, Tom stood up and saluted, his heart swelling with pride. The applause washed over him like a warm embrace. He felt connected to everyone in that moment, music lovers and fellow veterans alike, bonded by shared experiences and sacrifices. As Elvis kicked off into another song, the crowd sang along enthusiastically, but this time their voices were united in celebration of courage and camaraderie. For Tom Reynolds, this night had transformed from disappointment to an unforgettable tribute, a true celebration of heroism that he would cherish forever.